All right, well, here's the Q&A for Death Offers Life. We have the writer and producer with us, Madhu Ramanathan. So please, as the writer, I guess the first question I'd ask you is, did you collaborate with anyone on the idea, or did this idea completely come from you?
No, it's my idea. Actually, I first wrote a story, Vincent van Gogh Meets Death, in 2015. It was published in my book. This is my book. It was published in it. And the story is this one. Vincent van Gogh Meets Death. Later, when I sent the story to a person, he was interested in acting in it. And so we got the idea of making a film. And I adapted the screenplay from this story, and which was made into the film. Of course, it took about 2 years from the original idea to the completion of the film. And many people were changed in the course.
So the original idea was yours, that on his deathbed, Van Gogh, if death offered him the opportunity to come back again, instead of as an artist, as a person who just got to enjoy his art, he would take that. The torture of being an artist is something that he had just exhausted.
Actually, the idea came from the pathetic life of Van Gogh, who in his lifetime was unrecognized. He only sold one painting in his lifetime, and that too for $2,000. But once he died, after 6 months, there was a great demand for his painting, and people holding the painting made a fortune out of it. So this irony, the painter doesn't get anything from his painting, but others who held it are making fortune out of it. Life crushed upon Van Gogh and took out his art, about 2,000 sketches and 900 paintings, and gave nothing to him. Eventually, he committed suicide. He said that he committed suicide. Life became unbearable for him. His insanity, his unacceptance, his hunger. So, the idea of death coming there and taking him, in that moment, for that final 5 minutes, I used the idea that Van Gogh rises up to death. He said, what my concern is that, what my idea is that Mark Twain has said there are hundreds of geniuses who die unknown by others, not even by themselves. Van Gogh may not have known that he was a genius because he was unaccepted. He may have thought himself as a madman, as an insane. That's what he's saying. Hunger is bearable, but I cannot bear insanity once more. So when the offer is made to him, actually in the story, he thinks for some time. He was ready to accept that offer, but suddenly he changes because he thinks that what if I get the same life in the next birth also? So he has to go through these turmoils. That's why he rejected it, and he wishes that he would be born as a rich man or would make some money and buy his own painting at a huge price. We can beat irony only with irony.
Yeah, it was exactly. And you said it took 2 years from the time you decided. It was the actor gave you the idea of making into a film?
Actually, I am not an accepted writer. No one knows me. I first wrote in Malayalam, published 2 books, and later I went to English writing because no one knew my Malayalam writing. So somehow I changed it, and I went to English writing. And when I sent this story to a person who was interested in acting, he took interest in it. But that was in 2018. In 2018, there was a great flood in Kerala, and some problems occurred, displacement like that. So the idea got stretched. But in the meantime, that actor made another short film. And when we spoke later, he said he is still interested in it. Uh, what the original concept was that I should invest 20% of the cost of the film because I am an unknown writer. I agreed to it, and that director said some changes. I even agreed to that. Later, 1 year later, when the project came back, I said I would take over the production. I would produce it solely. And the new director, I got some issues with the old director, and Sairabas came. So when I talked to him, he said that the actor should be changed. So he brought in two boys, and I gave him full freedom for it. I gave him the story and the money, and I told him I should get a good product of art. And he gave me exactly that. What I wished, he gave me.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So when you saw the finished film, or I imagine you probably, as producer, you got to see it as they were editing. So you got exactly what you were aiming for.
Yes, we got the uh, film. Everyone is saying the film is fantastic. When I saw the first out also, I gave high marks to it. Normally, I would not give about 30 to 40 marks, but for this film, I called the director and said I am giving 60 to 80% marks. I like this very much. But when people began seeing it, their response gave us great encouragement. Each one had something to say about Van Gogh, about death, about the lighting arrangement, about the costume. So everything was well made. That the work of the director, along with his team, their hard work, their research, that paid off.
Wonderful. That's great. And one of the things I liked very much in it was that Death is wearing white.
Right.
And in his discussion with Van Gogh, uh, Van Gogh says, "Aren't you supposed to be dressed in black?" And he says, "It's depending upon you how I appear." Was that in your story also?
Uh, uh, uh. That's what death is actually for us. Death is a horrible creature. He's going to take the life out of us. We have only one life, and he's going to take it. So most people fight with death. I am not ready to come, and death catches by their neck and takes them away. But here, what Van Gogh? This is all an illusion, maybe a dream or something like that. Van Gogh sees the death in a white dress, and the death says to him that because of your quality, because of your character, you are seeing me as white. People see me according to the character. That's what we are saying, a peaceful death. People leading a good life would get a peaceful death. Like just like sleeping, they die off.
I like that part very much. I thought it was a
Thank you.
very nice. It was a very good part of the film and the story. Well, how long of a shoot was it? I mean, you only had the two actors in the one location, but was it
Uh,
was it a positive collaboration?
Actually, there's only two characters in the story. So, additional actors were not necessary. In the story, it is a hospital bed, but in the film, it is shown just as a room of Van Gogh. The first idea was to show a hospital and get into a room, some nurses walking like that, but later it was all changed by the director.
Oh, so originally it was going to be in a hospital?
In the story, he is lying in a hospital bed.
Oh. And when did that change occur?
That changed, the story went to when the director, he made some research. Actually, the dogs barking. What we first thought was that a death coming with a dog, and the director was afraid of dogs. So he said we should do something about. Later, he changed it. Changed it. The voiceover of the dogs were given, and the room was made to be a room of Van Gogh. It was not appearing like the room, a hospital room.
Well, it worked. It worked very well. I liked it very much.
Okay.
Before we go, are there any other collaborators that you'd like to mention?
For next project, that's what you're asking?
Sure. Or on this project, if there were people who contributed greatly that you want to give mention to.
Future products, future projects should come only when the money comes.
Yeah.
I have invested a lot in this film, and also for the marketing. The production cost, the marketing cost has exceeded the production cost. So I have to wait for money. If I have ideas for another film or another 2 or 3 films, but if I am going for it, I would be broke. So I am waiting.
Very good. Very good. Well,
My daughter too has said it. You should make money out of this, and you should make money for the next project also. Then you go and take and film.
she has a good idea. Well, it was a pleasure to meet you,
Okay, thanks.
and thank
It's
you
a
for
great honor for me. It's a great honor for me, for us, and Festival from US is contacting us in the name of art. It's
yeah.
a
Well,
great
thank you
honor.
for
Thank.
submitting such an original and very unique film. Very very original work.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Well, it was a pleasure to meet you, and thank you.
Okay.